Wallace.
And I have Don Holly here with me.
Three phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right. You know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.
Hey, welcome to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are coming to you straight from the Holland Studios here at Holland Eventing.
That's right, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Horse Trailer Pros at Holland Eventing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All together.
All together. So, we've got a big show.
Yep.
We've got Chris Bartle coming up. We've got...
That's a really cool interview.
Yeah, and we've got Karl Slezak coming up. I caught up with him at Chattahoochee Hills. Yep, and he's vying for a spot for the team. And it's a great show, but actually before we even get into what we're going to do here, we're going to talk Olympics and all of that.
Right.
We did get a chance to catch up with Sara Murphy and talk to her a little bit about TerraNova.
I know, and what an interview. Let's watch that.
All right.
Hey, Sara, thanks for joining us. What is going on?
No, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, what's going on at TerraNova?
Well, lots of things are going on at TerraNova, but we're really looking forward to our test event on the 19th of June. We have, we're going to do a beginner, novice, and training derby. And then we're going to also have you can pick whatever dressage tests you want to ride, or whatever show jumping rounds you want to do. And Peter Gray's going to come and judge for us. And Mark Phillips is actually down there right now with Eric Bull, and they're just figuring out what the tracks and stuff for the October event. So they're just down there now having a little look at what we're going to do for our derby, and the jumps are starting to get painted. It's just really exciting.
That's so cool. John, you're on Archibald Pioneer. What are you doing?
I'm just having a little hack around, enjoying modern technology before hopefully this all works. And Sara, thanks for coming on and tell us all about it. I'm hoping to be there. I might have a clinic that weekend, but if I don't, I am coming down with Archie and a couple of others and going to take a crack at it.
Well, that would be awesome. I mean, our rings are so beautiful.
Sara.
The course is going to be fun. And you're going to get a free entry and stabling into the FEI event in October if you win any of the divisions.
Wow, I'm coming.
I'm there.
Back there. I was there anyway.
Any of our derbies, yeah.
Sara,
so that's a pretty big prize.
I know, you did have me at hello, but that's even better.
Yeah. First prize in the beginner, novice, or training derby will win an entry with stabling, and second prize wins an entry.
Wow.
That's amazing. Well, I'm not going to enter the derby, but I'll probably come down for the derby, and I'm really excited about it. And
listen, it's a lifelong mission to get you to talk properly, okay?
I'll keep working on it. Listen, Sara, thanks for coming on, and we're looking forward to it very much. And thanks to TerraNova for everything.
Thank you guys for having me as always. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, thanks again to Sara for taking the time. The place looks like it's going to be incredible. And
Wow, how about what they're giving?
yeah, I know. You get prizes for
I'm going to
first.
do the derby. Are you going to do the derby?
I'm doing the derby. You can do the derby.
Okay, we can do that.
So anyway, that was cool. I am looking forward to the show.
August 18th, I think.
No, it's June, right?
Oh, I thought it was August.
No, it's June.
Oh,
It's real soon. That's a schooling show, and then in October is the FEI.
Oh, shoot. Maybe I won't be able to go. Anyway, sorry. Y'all should all go.
Yeah.
And your hair looks better with the hat on.
Oh my God, I tried to do this without the hat earlier. It was bad. It's really bad.
But some big news.
The U.S. Olympic team.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, hold on. You were right.
Yes, I was. I was right, people. I was right. So
I had them, but not in that order.
Right. So I said, first of all, what I said was I thought that our priority needed to be cross country, and how recent performance has gone. I will say they ended up putting Boyd on Lukeswell, right? Mm-hmm. And I had said on Q, but at that point when we were predicting that, which was 2 shows ago, he hadn't gone to Jersey yet.
Right.
And to be fair, I probably still would put him on Q myself, but there's so much factors that go into it that we don't know about.
Right. And then he's got Testerleg and on Q as backups.
Right. So
he's on the team.
He's on the team. So we got Boyd, Philip on Z, right?
Yep.
Liz on De Niro Z.
Yep.
So we got
congratulations to the Decino brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Big congratulations. I'm assuming that means we have 2 Zankershides on the team.
Yep.
And then Doug as the alternate, which is a great choice. I know the dressage at Kentucky wasn't what they were hoping for, but I'm assuming they think that they can clean that up, and he's a great choice. And then
and a lot can happen between now and September.
Absolutely. And then Tammy is the first non-traveling alternate, right?
Yeah, congratulations, Tammy. I was vying for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, whoever goes, it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. And
but
what do you predict?
I predict, I hope for a medal. I think if we can jump 3 clear rounds, there's no reason we can't do it, and I think we have the team to do that. I'm going to be real conservative and say I think we finish top 5.
Right.
I think that's a realistic goal, and I know all the Americans out there are going to say, no, come on, we need to win. And I agree. But what we need to do is finish a team.
Right.
So I think we get
that. So
you're
going, for some reason, silver's coming into my head, so I'm going with silver.
All right, cool. I mean, I think a silver or a bronze is very possible, and at that point, if you're going to go silver or bronze, let's just say we're going to win the whole darn thing.
Yeah, but I still feel silver.
All right.
So that's
silver. Yeah, could be. Could be my sideburns are coming out, and you can see
they're silver.
Yeah, that might be it.
That's funny.
Might be it.
So we have a great show, though.
Yeah, we do. So it's going to be exciting. We've got Chris Bartle coming up, and that's kind of fun as well because we get to talk about the American side now, and then we get to talk about the Brits with Chris and who they have coming up. And it just shows you, like, with the Americans being able to pull off Kentucky, and Sara actually being able to help pull off Kentucky, how influential that event was.
It was very influential.
For naming teams.
I agree with you. And good thing it happened. Thanks, Sarah Murphy, on another note.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what about Tokyo right now? I mean, there's a lot of stuff in the news about COVID over there and what's going on. They say no matter what, they're having it. So I'm hoping nothing interferes with it. I know vaccinations, and there's a lot of stuff back and forth that I had read about, like the Olympics going on when we had a pandemic, which is very, very, a very rough pandemic for a lot of people. A lot of people lost lives and they lost loved ones. But also, the Olympics are there over the years, even through world wars, in which it brings everybody together. And I think it's very appropriate that the Olympics happen so that we can all come together in humanity again. And that's what the Olympics were designed to do.
So the only thing I would say, I agree with everything you said, but you have, for all the reasons you said, it presents a huge problem.
Right.
Because it does bring people literally together.
Right.
But
I think they're doing vaccinations only. They all have to be
they are,
vaccinated.
and they have a big protocol in place. I think my gut tells me it's a 50-50 shot it happens at all.
Right. I wouldn't disagree with you.
And I think that maybe is being optimistic.
I think there's some challenges ahead. And what I don't understand is the Japanese government knew this was happening.
Right.
Or they're trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they had a vaccination protocol put in place way before?
Well, but it's all about being able to get the vaccine, right? And I don't know the logistics of it, but I know that it was up to the governments to get the vaccines made available to them.
Exactly.
You would think that the government would have done that, but maybe they met a problem. Maybe we got it first.
They spend all their money on the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I feel I'm not optimistic that it happens.
Right.
Because I know Japan.
So let's not to interrupt you. Let's say we find out 45 days before it that they're canceling. Would we do some kind of alternate?
You wouldn't do it. I cannot see how you could do an alternate proper Olympics.
You can't do an alternate proper
But could you
Olympics,
do a team competition somewhere already existing? Maybe.
Like individual sports doing their own things in different places.
I think it's possible. I think
Or would it be the same challenges?
I think it could be the same. It depends on the country you put it in, right? Like I
United
think
States.
Realistically, you could probably turn an existing event into a championship. Maybe you turn Buccolo at the end of the year into something because it's the
Bigger.
Nation Cup final.
Right.
Maybe something like that could happen. I think it would be a big stretch to pull off like an alternate eventing Olympics, but you could probably have some other team competition matter. At that point, I would assume you have to reselect and repick all the teams.
And then we're on that new format for the Olympics this year. It's going to be interesting if it does go off, how that's going to work and play into things, right?
Totally.
So if everybody
I don't even understand how that works. So does Doug actually compete?
No,
Not unless they need him.
Correct.
So he could jump in on show jump day having done nothing.
Correct. Or he could jump in if a horse is injured in one of the phases or the horse before it even starts.
Right.
That would be a proper replacement without any penalties. But if, let's say, something happened and after dressage, one of the horses couldn't move forward, so they would replace it with Doug.
Can I just say, for the record, and
That's
I know
not
this
our
won't
sport.
be, no, it's not. But even more important than that, this has been my whole thing about the Olympics in general. I know we've talked about it a little bit. I don't think we should even be in the Olympics at this point because it's so ridiculous. The fact that you and I, who compete at the top level, who do a podcast TV show about eventing, don't understand how the Olympics are going to run, shows you how ridiculously stupid
I agree.
the system is.
I mean, I know that you can do a replacement. There's a 20 penalty for it. There's a 100 penalty for another way of replacement. I think it's if your horse is eliminated and can't go on. It's like ridiculous. It's all these
so
things.
dumb.
Sort of like watching International Velvet and she falls off at the steeplechase fence, but she gets back on and she finishes and she has a sore shoulder, but then she rides at this show jump at the end, which, I love International Velvet, but they still won the gold medal. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big leap from Olympics to international, but I get what your point is.
International Velvet, they're at the Olympics. Come on, everybody knows this.
Yeah, okay, I watched it once.
Once. I see it every day.
I'm sure you do. I don't like horse movies.
There's a new one coming out called Dream Horse.
Jen went and saw it. It was girls' night, and I was
Was
glad
it
I wasn't.
good?
I don't know. She said it was great. I can't watch horse movies.
But it's Dream Horse. Come on. It's about a horse that is born in England. It's
I know,
owned by a town.
I know the story. It's
It
a great
goes
story.
to the steeplechase. And did it do Grand National?
I don't know. Come on. The problem is.
Well, how come they did girls' night and what did you do?
I was gone, thank God.
Oh.
So,
gotcha.
no, the problem is in horse movies, either they're ridiculous, like you fall off and steeplechase
Sort
on
of
your
like your
shoulder
hair?
and win. Stop it. And win. Or the horses get hurt. And I don't like either of those things. I don't like ridiculously dumb.
Secretariat didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but
He won.
Yeah, and
he
that
won
was
the Triple Crown.
That was okay.
Okay. Then what about Farlap?
I never saw it. Never saw it.
Do you know who Farlap is?
Yeah, it was a racehorse.
What racehorse?
He was like the world's greatest race. Isn't he from Australia or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does Farlap mean?
He goes really far every lap.
Lightning strike.
That's what I said. Lightning strike.
It's spelled P-H-A-R.
I know how it's spelled.
L-A-P.
Yeah.
Because it's actually defined as Farlap, F-A-R. I'm not finished. Don't look at your watch.
We're about out of time.
That's fine. But because the trainer that got him believed that the last Australian great horse had 7 letters in his name, 8 letters in his name, he changed it to P, or somebody
Oh, that's
changed it
cool.
to PH.
That's cool.
For far.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You know what? I'll
that's
watch
for
it.
y'all
I
all to
just-
know. And y'all should start emailing and texting and say, John, you should start watching horse movies.
Look, I will watch some horse movies, but you just have to know, if you're going to recommend one to me, it can't be on a ridiculously stupid premise, and it can't have horses getting hurt.
I agree with that.
So as long as I don't have any of that, then it's fine.
Well, the horse in Farlap, he dies. It's a real life story.
Yeah, I don't like that.
All right. Thanks for doing this opening with us.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to be right back with our Stress Less segment
Yep.
with Chris Bartle.
Yay.
So hang tight, and we'll be right back with the coach of the British team.
Perfect timing.
Want to advertise on the Jon and Rick Show? Contact John at 352-875-8622.
Or call Rick at 850-879-2649.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, an amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information. Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian developed, show safe, all natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stressless Horse Supplement.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are here for our Stress Less segment, joined by Mr. Chris Bartle, who is the performance coach for the British eventing team, and also the managing director of the Yorkshire Riding Center. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, John.
So I also will say that Chris has been incredibly kind, because I completely messed up the first shot of this interview, and he has agreed to come back and redo this for us. So thanks very much for that. Sometimes technology escapes a horse person. The one thing I wanted to start with here, obviously we want to get into your time with Germany. We want to get into the high performance stuff with the UK, but as I was reading through all of your bio here, again, I knew a lot of this going into it, but when you see it all written down, it's incredible. You've done so much and so many things that, like, by themselves would be a career. And you've done it, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So the first thing that I thought was really incredible was that you had Wiley Trout in 78 getting ready for Burley, and you made a transition. He got a little bit banged up, and you made a transition in your career early on with that horse to go take up dressage and did pretty darn well. So tell us a little bit about that, what that was all about.
Yeah, that was just one of those accidents, you might say. On the one hand, I had a fascination in the sport. I loved eventing. I came from also a background with hunting and racing. I tried to be an amateur jockey for a while. So Wiley Trout came to me after my racing days when I was looking for a horse to event, and he was an exceptionally bold horse, but also, that time with no idea that he might turn into a dressage horse. But over a number of, not a number of years, actually, it was quite amazing how I got him in late 75. He was a very keen horse, a workaholic, I always call him. So that's part of what made him such a good horse. He was quite a strong horse. I got him because he was a bit of a runaway. So luckily I had an indoor arena and I could run him into the corners when I couldn't stop him at the beginning. And over the next 2 years, 75, 76, he came up through the grades eventing and eventually qualified early 77 for badminton. And I got the famous call from Frank Weldon. In those days, he would be quite happy to ring up a rider and tell them they're not ready to go to badminton. Right. So I took his advice and then prepared the horse for Burghley in the autumn. And sadly, during that preparation for Burghley, he tweaked a tendon, and so I had to have time off. I say sadly because in the end, that was a turning point. I had an amazing coach at the time, Hans Blixen-Finneker, who himself was an Olympic rider and had competed for Sweden in the 52 Olympics, where he won the eventing gold medal. And his other horse, Master Rufus, was ridden by Henri Saint-Cyr and won the gold medal in the dressage. And he was the commander of the Swedish Cavalry School. So I couldn't have a better coach for my early sort of years. And he was the one who persuaded me during this year that the horse Wiley Trout had a bit of time off, was coming back to work. I started to challenge myself to see just how much I could do with the dressage. So I started teaching him flying changes, and with Hans from Blixen's help, we started to teach him Piaffe, and he had an aptitude for that. Again, mainly because he was a workaholic. And the rest is history. And 78, I competed in my first international dressage show, inspired by Rainer Klimke, in fact, because I'd seen him the year before competing at Goodwood. And so I thought, well, I'd like to be able to do as good as he's done. So the story went on. 78, I had my first chance to compete at an international, and a few years later, 84, I was competing in Los Angeles at the Olympic Games.
That's amazing. Chris, I got a question for Wiley Trout. What was his strong suit? I heard you say that the Piaffe was something he loved to do. Was his changes or the Piaffe and the passage, was that the strong suit for the horse?
Well, I would say, the two strongest suits were his talent for Piaffe, and then he developed the passage. But he would, as I say, his attitude to work lent itself really well to those movements requiring a high degree of collection and impulsion. And then the other highlight was, in the end, his canter work, and in particular his flying changes. He used to love doing flying changes. It took a while to establish them, and it took me a year to establish a single flying change without him running away. But his changes were so big and expressive, he needed the whole of the diagonal to fit in his 15 one-time changes. And
I was going to say the Tempe ones must have been hard to fit in that diagonal.
Yeah, he used to squeal with delight sometimes at the beginning of them. And actually, that's a story that people would never believe. But in Los Angeles, in Santa Anita, where the Equestrian Games took place, just to make sure I could do 15 one-times in the Grand Prix, I did the back straight in Santa Anita, and I did 101 one-time changes.
Oh my God!
I cracked the 100. So we skipped along the back straight in the days before, just to reassure myself I could do 15 in the arena. So
that was a video. That's 15. Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And you did incredibly well there. You were 6th, if I recall, in the dressage competition, which was a record for Great Britain, and that held up all the way until the Olympics returned home in 2012. Is that right?
Yeah, that's an amazing story. The fact that we were sixth in the Olympic Games in '84 was the best placing by a British rider, and the fact that it stood until Charlotte Dujardin beat it in 2012 London was quite amazing, really. And of course, from the time I was competing in '84 dressage to 2012, well, the sport of dressage had moved on so much. Horses bred especially for the sport. Wiley Trout came from a hunting, racing background. He was 3/4 thoroughbred, and so didn't have the natural trot paces that a dressage bred horse does nowadays. So he would not be competitive now in that sense. But as I said before, his highlight was his particularly his canter work and his Piaffe Passage.
It's incredible.
On that, I had a question on that line. I think to that point, wasn't Keene a thoroughbred that was ridden in the Olympics, and that horse did really well, but probably not present day. But back then, another story of coming out of the pasture with some lameness, and it went on to be a great Grand Prix horse.
Yeah, I know. I remember Keene at the time that I was competing. Yeah, he was one of the opposition on your side. Yes. Yeah.
And then you came back to eventing. I guess you never really left, but you came back to really take a crack at it, and you won team gold at the '97 European Championships, and then you won the badminton horse trials in '98 on Word Perfect. So it was a pretty triumphant return, and then ended up actually making the trip to Sydney, which I'm sure was a pretty cool thing to do. Maybe not your favorite thing, because I think you were a reserve on that, but a pretty triumphant return to eventing after dressage.
Yeah, the fact that I did so much from the dressage was, I often say, accidental. I still had an interest in eventing in those days. When I was competing top level dressage, I still had horses that I was competing eventing, and probably what people don't know, a horse I actually won some top flight events and was well placed at Chatsworth 3-day event in '85, was sold then to Germany, actually, to Klaus Erhorn, and became his ride for the European Championships in '91. But my transition from dressage to eventing was not so much a transition. It was a case of what horses I had at the time and what those horses were talented to do, really.
Right. Horsemanship decisions. And that sort of brings us to a nice little transition here before we take our break of you were helping the German eventing team by selling them a top horse before you were helping the German eventing team by teaching them how to win major competitions. So with that said, let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and I wanted to take that transition and talk about your coaching of Germany and now your current position as the performance coach for Great Britain.
And thanks for Stress Less for doing this segment for us.
Absolutely. Great product, hothorsesupplement.com. Go check it out. Hi, I'm John Halling, and this is my wife, Jen, and we run Halling Eventing out of Willow Run Farm here in Ocala, Florida. We love our Jump for Joy jumps.
We are standing in front of one of my favorites, which is our Jump for Joy angled brush, which we have up on our bank complex so we can prepare the horses for the 3 days that are coming up. And it is very mobile, and we can put it anywhere we need to give the horses the questions that they need to see before we go and compete.
So we love them for cross country. We also have them in our show jump ring. They're great. You never have to paint them. Maintenance is super easy. And like Jen was saying, the shoulder brush here and any of the portable cross-country jumps that Jump for Joy makes are great. They're easy to move around, change the courses. We love them.
You can put them in the water jump. You can put them anywhere you want.
So if you're looking for some new show jumps, some new cross-country jumps, check out Jump for Joy.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stress Less Horse Supplement.
Welcome to TerraNova Equestrian Center, located in Mayaca City, Florida, just a short drive from some of the nation's top beaches.
As a competitor, one of the most important things we look for when planning our competition calendar is the quality of course design and footing for our beloved equine athletes.
We are so excited to host our inaugural event, the event at TerraNova, this fall. This event was thoughtfully created by some of the most innovative and experienced minds in our sport.
The courses are run over gorgeous terrain, and we are proud to offer custom drainage and irrigation throughout all levels of competition. TerraNova is certainly the gold standard, with 6 Wordley Martin GGT arenas and a Captain Mark Phillips designed and Eric Bull built cross-country course, complete with frangible technology.
We hope to create a special experience for all levels of riders.
Whether you're experiencing your first horse show or are a seasoned Olympic athlete, TerraNova is excited to welcome you.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance. Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we're still here with Chris Bartle, and we're hearing some extraordinary stories. Now I think what we're transitioning into is what you are doing, what you did for the German team and what you are doing for the Great Britain team.
Yeah, so you spent 15 years as the German coach, and really was a pretty big commitment to make, I would think, going to Germany, who at the time I think probably showed some promise, or you wouldn't have taken the position, but they weren't really known as a powerhouse in eventing at the time. And you certainly turned that around, and they are now one of the most powerful squads in the world that everybody's concerned about. So first of all, thanks a lot for that. But well done you. So tell us, what was that all about? How did you get that position, and sort of what was that time of your life like?
Yeah, back in the 90s, as well as competing, of course, myself, I was the dressage coach for the British eventing team. And after my disappointment, I have to say, at being on the bench for the Sydney Olympics, I received a phone call actually from Christoph Hess, just a casual one, asking me how I was, what I was doing, what my plans were. I think he was just sort of sizing me up to see if they could make an approach to me, because he never came absolutely to the point. But at that time, after Sydney, I was thinking, well, with my career, In the long term, I was interested in coaching. I had good times coaching the British team, but Yogi Breisner had taken on the overall management of the British team just before Sydney, and so there was no vacancy available there. And so when the Germans then did ask me if I was interested in coaching them, yeah, who wouldn't be interested in coaching the Germans? And I had a conversation with Christoph and then subsequently with the federation and took on the job. And I often ask myself the question, why would they want somebody from overseas? Why would they approach me? And I think possibly because of my involvement and success, you could say, in the dressage world, given Germany's sort of interest in that discipline per se and their success in it, that I think probably added credibility. And then I was able to bring a different, perhaps a different way of riding cross country, a more British way of riding cross country to the Germans.
And with that sort of point, was that well received by the riders initially? Were they all in, or did it take a little convincing for some of them to jump on board?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I got a warm welcome all the time, but with a healthy degree of skepticism. I was very fortunate at the time that I had within the squad a couple of younger riders, and I mentioned Rainer Klimke as being influential in my dressage career. Subsequently, when I started coaching Team Germany, hey ho, who's in the squad? Ingrid Klimke, his daughter. So she was and still is somebody who is absolutely like a sponge for anything that you can say to her, any advice you can give her and training you can give her. And she was instrumental, I would say, one of the key people who sort of took the what I would call perhaps a skepticism, some of the shutters down really, and allowed my ideas and my system to be adopted. You're bound at the beginning in these situations to have some of the older guys, Herbert Blocker, who'd been in the German squad for years and years. You're not going to change somebody like that. You just work with them and so on. But over time, I was able to have an influence with the younger ones, and the rest, as you say, is history. But
well, great. And so then the next thing that I wanted to the next piece I wanted to touch on here that is obviously very currently important is the Tokyo Olympics. And Great Britain did just come out with their nominated entries. And you've got that list there, and I'll just run through it for everybody who's listening. We've got Rosalind Cantor, got Laura Collette, Pippa Funnell, Kitty King, Piggy March, who a lot of us know as Piggy French, but March. Got Tom McEwen, Harry Mead, Oliver Townend, and Nicola Wilson. And then you've got your reserves in Sarah Bullimore, and Ben Hobday. And then it does say here, Oliver is waiting on a confirmation event, which I think is he has to do a 4-star short on Cooley Masterclass, which is the horse we remember he had at Kentucky. He was doing so well on. Well, he did well on both, but unfortunately didn't get to finish the competition there. So obviously you guys have some sort of a team strategy or plan going forward. So with all of these riders here, I know we have Lamullen coming up. A lot of them are entered there. What's the plan for the team going forward?
Well, yes, these 9 riders or combinations who've been nominated, as you know, will have to be whittled down to 3 team and 1 reserve. And so in the run up to that final selection, our policy is very much to allow the riders to make their own decisions about the best way to prepare their horses for the Olympic Games. That we work back from that. But of course, to appear in the Olympics, to have a chance to be on the podium, you first of all got to be there. And to be there, you have to be selected. So it's important for them then to show the selectors in the upcoming final couple or 3 major competitions. There's one coming up next weekend, Houghton Hall. There's the following 2 weeks later, Bicton, 4-star short, and then there's Luhmühlen, and then the selection takes place immediately after Luhmühlen. Now, of all our horses who've been nominated, none of them require a qualification in the long format. They're all qualified, so it would not be expected that any of our riders would ride long format in the preparation now for the final selection. So in Luhmühlen, there is a short format as well as the long format. And then there's Bicton short format as well as long format as well. So I would be expecting those riders to be focusing on the short format as part of their preparation for Tokyo.
And so that's an important thing because one, obviously the timing, the timing would be very close before Tokyo to run a 5 long, but also, any long, but also there's some issues, aren't there, with Germany and getting British-based riders into the country. So what's that all about?
Yeah, no, we've just heard this weekend that the Germans have introduced a restriction on English visitors to Germany, that they have to quarantine for 2 weeks when they come into Germany. That would then make it impossible really for riders to participate at Luhmühlen unless they can get a sporting dispensation as elite sportsmen and women to, in effect, avoid having to go into quarantine. That decision has not, to my knowledge, yet been made. I'm waiting on that in the next couple of days. We're fortunate that we do still have the other opportunities, such as Bicton in particular, as an opportunity for riders to prepare their horses and for those who are wanting to impress the selectors to produce a stunning result at Bicton.
Well, I do sincerely wish you good luck. I really am excited. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming back on after my little error here.
And John, you're not going to ask the question you always ask, like Eric. What are you going to ask him?
I'm going to ask. So we want the inside scoop for our viewers here, and we won't tell anybody. Who are the 3? Who gets to go?
Yeah, the first one is the gold medal winner. The second one will be the silver medal winner, and the third one will be the bronze medal winner.
That's the answer. We did ask Eric DeVander the same question, and he wouldn't answer. You gave a great answer, so well done. It's going to have to be silver, bronze, and fourth. But actually, you can't even have that because we want the gold. So, all joking aside, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. We will have you back on after your silver medal performance right behind the U.S. After the Olympics. And again, thank you, Chris, very much.
Thank you, Chris.
John and Rick, and we look forward to meeting you in the flesh out there, hopefully.
All right. We're going to be right back with Canadian eventer Karl Slezak. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see everybody in a few minutes.
For a horse owner on the road, your trailer is essential. No one enjoys being stuck on the road. At Horse Trailer Pros, we repair, renovate, and maintain all makes and models of horse trailers. We work directly with your insurance company or manufacturer for warranty repairs and insurance claims. Our state-of-the-art facility provides quick turnaround and friendly customer service. Considering a living quarter conversion? We do those too. Find comfort on the road with Horse Trailer Pros. Call or text 352-804-2131. HorseTrailerPros.com.
Hey, Rick here. Do you have a horse suffering from poor performance, anxiety and fear, low appetite, agitation, or nervousness? Stress Less can help. Stress Less, the hot horse remedy, is veterinarian-developed, show-safe, all-natural formula that promotes calmness, focus, and mood balance in horses experiencing stress related to training, showing, racing, stall rest, and travel. This equine supplement encourages calmness, focus, and mood balance without affecting the motor skills or energy levels of your horse. It promotes a more willing and balanced temperament with no drowsiness or impaired function, resulting in increased focus, a calm mind, and a happier horse and rider. Try Stress Less today and see for yourself why we think Stress Less is the best hot horse remedy you will find. Check us out at centerlinedistribution.net and on Facebook and Instagram as Stressless Horse Supplement.
Summit Joint Performance, the injectable joint supplement used by numerous international and Olympic riders, invites you to experience the winning Summit difference. Made of all natural ingredients, Summit increases mobility and comfort. Win your class with Summit Joint Performance.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros, and we are here at Chattahoochee Hills, and I was fortunate enough to get with Karl Slezak from Canada. And Karl, thanks for letting us encroach on your camper here.
Anytime.
And just want to catch up with you. We've been trying actually to get you on the show for a little bit here, but I keep missing you. So I appreciate that we got to do it.
Anytime.
So I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is actually your move to Ocala.
Yep.
So you're Canadian, your wife is Canadian, but you guys actually live in the States now and are in Ocala.
Yeah, we're in the middle of our immigration process,
Right, so
getting our green card. So I guess a year when COVID hit, we had a choice of either commercially shipping all our horses back to Canada or putting that money into immigration. So we decided to put it into immigration.
I mean, Ocala certainly, the weather is pretty nice, so I can see where you'd want to make that choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a great decision. We were extremely happy with how it's working out for us.
So I know from having Jen, my wife, go through this, once you're in the middle of that process, you can't leave.
So you can apply for a travel permit,
right?
And usually your travel permit and your work permit come together,
right?
I currently have a travel and a work permit. Caitlin is still waiting on hers.
So I just want to tell you, this can be a little aside, just as a little friendly advice in case you get into a situation. When Jen and I got married, she then started going through this immigration situation, right? And applied, and we were not as smart as you guys. We didn't know all of the rules. So we went away on our honeymoon and went to Italy, and they let us go.
Yeah.
And then on the way home, we landed in Chicago, went through immigration, and they stopped her.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let her come back in because we screwed up and didn't apply
right.
to leave.
Right.
And they sent her back to Canada.
Right.
So I'm just saying, if you get in a situation where you're like, baby, I love you, but I can't tolerate you, right? You can just accidentally take a trip.
We can go
and
she'll be sent out.
Yeah, you'll be sent out. But the downside is I had to do the entire barn and all the stalls myself.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah,
yeah. It was no good. That was no good.
Bad timing.
Yeah, it was not a good time at all. So you're here in Ocala, or well, we're not here in Ocala, but you're in Ocala. You're in the States. Obviously trying to get that side of the business going, and I feel like every time that I talk to you or see you, I mean, you guys are hustling. So the business side of it must be going pretty well.
We're doing all right. We have a sales business and we have a bunch of clients, and the clients seem to be multiplying rapidly. So that's been great for us.
Yeah. And did you notice any difference? Like, I kind of went into this year with COVID expecting it to kind of slow down, but it almost seemed like it sped up to me.
No, I think it actually did speed up. I mean, definitely sales were great. Everybody seemed to have a little extra time to be doing horses, so I think it was great.
Right, and so we've got WEC in town. So are you guys going to be jumping this summer? Are you going to be eventing this summer? What are you going to do?
Well, I have my friend Wish's horse is declared for the Olympics, and he's still in the running, so depending on, we should hopefully find out in the near future, next couple of weeks or so.
Right.
And then that'll kind of give us a better idea of what we're doing for the rest of the summer.
Got it. So I do want to get into him, but before we do, what are the other horses you have in your barn? So you rode here this weekend.
Yeah, I've got my hot Bobo mare here and running in the intermediate.
Okay, and how'd that go?
Great. She was great in dressage. She's a great all-around horse. She's great on the flat. She jumps around well, and she's a good show jumper.
Right. So
We got sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the cross country today with her.
Yeah.
That obviously the going was a little bit firm, but I thought the course was a nice course.
Oh, it was a great course.
So she went around that well?
Yeah, she jumped around great. It was a little firm. I went a little on the slow side.
Right.
She's running in the 3-star next weekend in Virginia. This whole spring season got kind of screwed up with events canceling, events added, and also rerouting from Kentucky to Jersey, and things. So
right.
Anyhow.
And did you have any plans? Because I know Bromont just canceled. Were there any plans for Bromont?
Unfortunately, no. That was not in our schedule. After falling in Kentucky, we rerouted to Jersey to just get it out of the way and be done with it. It was very unfortunate that Bromont had to cancel. It's such a great event. So
Sue does a great job up
she
there.
does. Hopefully we'll see it on the calendar again later on this year, and then and the big event in next spring.
Yeah, I think as long as Sue's involved, Bromont will happen.
Yeah.
She does not
in
take
some
no
way.
for an
Yeah,
answer.
in some way it's going to happen. Yeah.
And so you did go to Jersey, and that was a pretty good event. And I know there's been a little bit of pushback from some of the riders since Jersey was done about the event in general. So I just was sort of curious your thoughts on that event. I know your horse went pretty well, like he was good there. But like, how did you find the event? Did you come out of it in good shape? Did you feel like that it was a nice event? Do you think there's a lot of stuff that needs to improve? I'm just sort of curious your thoughts on that.
I definitely, I mean, the hospitality at Jersey is fantastic.
Yep.
They do a great job of taking care of us around the barns and feeding us, and definitely they were great in that regard. As a whole, Jersey worked out for me well. It's a tough course in that there's not enough property, and you end up going back and forth a lot. And there was, I think this year in general, there was a few little extra loops that just felt like they got thrown in for adding some distance, which just made it harder on the horses.
And don't you think that was kind of weird though? Because like we went out of the box, right? You jumped fence 1, and then you go out and you head to fence 2, and there's that whole field out there.
I agree. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why didn't they just add a few jumps in that first loop,
right,
and take us out farther in that first loop, instead of making us do that little blip around the water a few times up and down that gully.
Yeah, and you had to loop back to that narrow table. It felt like they were setting it up, to me anyway, and I don't know what your thoughts were on it, but it felt to me like they were setting up this event like they thought they'd have 50,000 spectators on cross country.
Right.
But when they were planning the event, we were still under all the COVID rules, and I know we had some spectators allowed, but you weren't going to have a big crowd, so I don't know why they would have done it that way. It seemed strange.
I was surprised by, because we've done that event in the past, and I don't remember those kind of time wasting loops that just hard on the horses. It's a hard enough course on the horses already, because you're going back and forth. That they think they're going home and then they're not, and then they think they're going home and then they're not. Right. So it's definitely it's a hard track for them that way.
Right. Okay, big question here, and I want to get into a little bit in our next segment, but the double corners, the 4-stride double corners.
Yes.
Did you go straight?
I did.
And how'd it go?
Excellent. I was coming around to that, and out of the corner of my eye, somebody was running away from it. There was a flag on the ground somewhere.
A person was running away from it?
Yeah, a person was running away from it. And I don't really know what was going on. I just locked on the line, and in all honesty, I had the 5-stride in mind, and he jumped in well, and he was carrying on down, and I did do the 4 strides. Right. It was a bit of it was definitely a long 4. But it
would have to be long, because I committed to the 4 and it was long.
Right. Yeah.
So if you were riding in thinking 5, good on you.
Yeah. No, he carries down the hill really well.
Right.
That's for sure.
He's got a big stride.
He does.
Well, that's cool. And then so then from there we went through to the water, and you had that big drop into the water. Actually, you know what? Even before that, we had the double brush thing, the 4-stride double brushes, which I thought was probably the most sneaky, difficult thing on the course. I don't know how that rode for you.
Actually, the whole course actually rode really well for me. Right. He was spot on. He was definitely prepped for Kentucky. It was really unfortunate that didn't work out for us there, but he definitely skipped around Jersey the best he's ever gone around.
Right, cool. And so he was good through the water coming after that.
Yeah.
Because there you had the big drop in, and a couple of horses landed a little bit steep there and had to really reach for that narrow on the island.
Yeah. I know he definitely covers distance really well. I definitely felt like it was reaching maybe a little bit, but it was
right.
He locked on great there.
And so then you finished that cross country, came out the next morning. How was the show jumping?
I admitted, mine's such a good show jumper, and that didn't work out as well for me. I was disappointed with a little disappointed with the show jumping. We dropped 2 poles. One was definitely mine, and the other one he had coming out of the triple, which was kind of uncharacteristic of him.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot of horses that had rails there. That surprised me.
So obviously I didn't jump that day, but it seemed like, and I'm gonna finish the segment with this, and then you can give me your answer. It seemed to me, from having walked it, like the ring itself would have been quite hard to jump in.
Yeah, definitely the footing moved a lot. Like, it was really loose footing. I thought it was it definitely gave under the horses. So I don't feel like they really had a good firm ground to push off of.
Right. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to be right back, and we're going to find out a little bit more about the show jump round, and then I want to talk a little bit more about the Olympics in Canada and where you guys are. So we'll be right back after the break.
Grant Showalter has over 15 years of equine bodywork and saddle fitting experience. His technique uses manual pressure and stretching to release points of restriction, leading to freer movement, reduced soreness, and restored range of motion. He has a thorough understanding of the importance of a properly fitted saddle. You can quickly identify and correct any balance issues and can adjust your saddle on site. I personally have Grant work on all of my event horses to keep them feeling their best before, during, and after their competitions. Grant is based in Florida year-round, but regularly travels to Georgia, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. For more information or to schedule an appointment, call 484-639-4454.
Hi, I'm Liz Halliday-Sharp. I'm an international event rider based in Ocala, Florida, and Lexington, Kentucky. We love our Jump for Joy jumps. We're able to take the fillers and portables with us back and forth between our 2 locations, which is really helpful. And we especially love the cross-country portable fences. We have lots of different ones so that we can bring them between Lexington and Ocala, and we've always got something exciting for the horses to learn and jump over. We love our fences, and we would recommend Jump for Joy to anybody.
When it comes time to compete, I demand the best out of my horses and myself. That's why Elemental Fit Lab, the home of CrossFit antics, is my home gym. Coach Vilma and her team create a fun, welcoming environment for athletes of all levels. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, Elemental Fit Lab will guide you towards a stronger, healthier version of you. Mention the Jon and Rick Show to get 3 free personal training sessions with enrollment.
Sweet Dixie South is an equestrian facility built for the lifestyle of eventers of all levels. Whether you are coming to Ocala for the entire season, a week, a month, or a year, this beautiful 160-acre farm is the place to settle in and enjoy your time with horses. They offer a full cross-country course with 2 water features, banks, ditches, and amazing footing to gallop, a spectacular all-weather footing ring, large grass jumping fields, and dressage rings. Located in the rolling hills of North Marion County in Reddick, Florida, Sweet Dixie South has 100 stalls and numerous paddocks, apartments, a line of camper hookups, washer and dryer amenities, as well as common areas to complete your experience during your stay. Under the ownership of Mike Campbell and the management of Can-Do Joe Adams of Top Rail Tack, Sweet Dixie South has transformed into a premier eventing training facility in Florida. Go to www.sweetdixiesouth.com for more information.
Welcome back to the Jon and Rick Show, brought to you by Horse Trailer Pros. We are back with Karl Slezak from Canada. And Karl, thanks for sticking around, or actually letting me stick around in your camper here. So we were talking a little bit about the show jumping at Jersey Fresh and that the footing in that ring, which I said, and I think you agreed with, just seemed like it moved and it got deep in spots and firm in others. And I know they said in the briefing that they brought a footing expert in to work those rings, but it seemed to me like really there wasn't a lot he could do with it. It was they're stone dust rings.
Yeah, I feel like they I mean, those rings actually, when we rode them all week long, usually there's like puddles everywhere, like they're really sloppy in places, and this was the first year that I was like, well, actually there's no puddles, and I felt like they had a handle on how to water them so that they weren't disgusting in places. But definitely it just seemed loose. The horses couldn't get a hold on the ground and push off for sure.
Yeah, like it seemed to me, I don't know sort of what your feelings on it were, but like I would have almost rather jumped Sunday on the grass than in that ring, because at least it would have been a consistent surface.
Yeah.
It might have been firm, but at least it would have been a consistent surface.
Yeah.
It's always difficult when the horses feel like they're not sure what is happening. And like to your point, your horse is typically a pretty darn good show jumper.
Yeah.
And for him to have two down, he wasn't alone.
Yeah.
I saw a lot, almost seemed like the horses that were good jumpers struggled more than the horses that weren't.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I was surprised. There were a few horses that are known for having a few rails that did jump around clean, and then some of the good ones definitely struggled. So
it's like almost like they jump big and then they're worried where they're going to land.
Yeah.
So like my thought is, if that event were to go forward, that's probably, like, obviously they could be a little smarter about using that first loop. I should have redone this, but that's all right. I messed up my timing a little bit, but we're good. It seems a little bit like if that event were to go forward, they obviously the cross country, that first loop could give themselves a little more distance there, hopefully. But I think probably the biggest thing are those rings.
Yeah, I'd have to agree.
Like, they need a proper surface.
Yeah.
And that might be that we as competitors have gotten a little bit spoiled, I suppose. But we're looking after our horses. We put so much time and effort into getting them where they're going. You want to have a good surface to ride on.
It kind of just seems to be the industry standard now. That the footing should be looked after properly.
Right.
And it sounds like they, I mean, at least making an effort to try to maintain it, but whatever they did wasn't quite good enough. It was, I don't know. I don't think anything they could do was never going to be good enough.
Right. When you're dealing with a ring that isn't quite good enough, it doesn't matter who you bring in. The ring just isn't quite good enough, is it?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so transitioning back a little bit, I know you took Fernhill Wishes to Kentucky.
Yeah.
And obviously that was not the weekend you wanted. I have to say, I was watching. You looked so good to that point. And then he just made a little bit of a mistake coming out of the...
It was going well until it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think... for what it's worth, I don't think you could have stuck it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I rode it to the ground. But, he felt amazing. He felt better than ever. He was jumping really well. Kind of felt like he should be there. And he made a mistake at the hollow. I was definitely concerned about the A element there. I kept calling it the Green Monster there, Fenway Park, the Green Monster, because it just felt like a wall of green. But I just never thought they were going to get to the top of that hill and have a good surface to push off of. There wasn't any flat ground there at all. But he ran up the hill and jumped that really well, and he just carried out a little too far and didn't see where I was looking, and was off the B element and went to put another stride in and went to push off on the ground, but the ground sloped away and just was scrambling and still left the ground. And
so was it? I don't remember. It was because I feel like the people were going 2 or 3 there, right? Like, correct. 2 was kind of plan A.
Or Dom went in 1.
Right. Yeah, well, Dom, that's a big striding horse. Yeah. So were you thinking 2 and he went 3?
Yeah, I was thinking 2.
Right.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking 2, and he thought 3. Like I said, he went to put his feet down again, and the ground wasn't there, and somehow he tried to get his shoulders up without pushing off.
Right.
And they just didn't come up high enough.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. Like I said, I do remember thinking, you got to be kidding me, that was a good ride.
Yeah, no, he felt phenomenal at that point.
So obviously we went over it a little bit earlier, but you regrouped, you went to Jersey, that went really well for you. So now we're in this funny place where Canada, it's a really funny place actually, isn't it? Yeah. Canada has what, 2 spots?
2 spots. Correct.
To go to the Olympics.
Individual spots, yeah.
To go to the Olympics in Tokyo during COVID, which may not happen because Tokyo is in Japan, which is in a state of emergency for COVID.
We're going to cross our fingers.
So how's it work with Canada? I know Canada itself, the high performance group is a little bit in flux and unsure of what's going on. Have they given you guys any feedback as to what the plan is going forward?
No. we at the moment we have a kind of an itinerary as to when the horses are leaving, how long they're going to be there, which is a lot sooner than I expected. And what's supposed to happen is the horses are supposed to fly out on July 7th and do quarantine in Aachen, Germany.
Right.
And then I guess they're like in Aachen for 10 days, and then with I think all eventing teams from all countries or at least most of them will be quarantining in Aachen, and then they go to Tokyo together.
So all of the eventing horses, I say all, the majority of the world's eventing horses are going to be in Aachen. July 7th you head over, you all quarantine together, and then they're all going to get on the same plane and go.
Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. And so yeah, it would be nice to be on that trip for sure. But it's going to be different. I mean, it's you keep thinking about what is it actually going to look like with COVID going on, and it's not going to be what it would normally be. I mean, I feel like the protocols are going to be pretty strict as far as keeping people isolated, and which is unfortunate.
Yeah, well, if you get to go, it's worth it, right?
Exactly.
So have they told you when they're going to decide on who the two are?
So basically the original timeline was after Bromont. However, now with Bromont canceling, I'm hoping they're going to let us know earlier, because basically mid-June to July 7th is not a lot of time to get organized.
So is he back in work now?
He is starting back this week.
Got it. Yeah, that's tough. Quick turnaround.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And so, how many? Do you know how many Canadians have applied? Like, who's actually?
I think
in the mix?
there was totally in total there were 8 horse rider combinations, and I think we're down to 6 left.
Okay.
So. Yeah, I mean, at the moment my horse feels great. Like,
so you've got a 1 in 6 chance of going, is what I'm hearing.
Right, yeah. Oh,
nice.
Exactly.
And probably a better chance than that, because you've been so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the communication has been coming, I'm assuming, from Fleur?
Yes.
And who are the selectors then that make the decisions?
We've got James Atkinson, we've got Penny Rowland, and Jimmy Wofford has come on this year as a selector, a temporary selector to help us out, so we have a third.
And now, when you go over there, are you guys going to have coaching?
So at the moment, we are unsure of what the plan is for coaching.
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we know we have a farrier going, and we have a vet.
Who's the
going.
Farrier?
Andy Vergut.
I like Andy. He's a good guy.
He's good.
And the vet is
Jon Hendrickson.
Yep, Jan's awesome.
Yeah. And then our support will be Fleur Tipton.
Okay.
As I believe, the manager.
But you may get there and not have a coach.
Correct.
Which, to be fair, at this level, you know what you're doing, and it's not a team, so I guess it's just another competition, really.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we always we do a lot of it on our own in general. We compete at the advanced horse trials pretty much on our own. We might have a helping hand every now and again, but generally speaking, we're on our own. We get a lot of help at home. But it's a championship like that, you would definitely like to have somebody in your corner that's just can keep an eye on you and help you tweak things here and there. Nothing major, but squeak every point out that you can.
Absolutely. So the big question is do you eat sushi?
Love sushi.
Oh, perfect.
I love seafood.
Yeah. All right. So sushi.
I'm excited about it. If I get to, I would love to take a little extra time afterwards and tour the country, because
that'd be cool. Huh?
Yeah,
but
you're never gonna get to go again.
Not get to.
Yeah, I know. It's it'll be.
Come
such
on,
a
COVID, get it organized.
Exactly.
Okay, and so then I do want to leave you with just a little bit of advice here, which is when you go and you're eating all that sushi, don't drink the tea. Don't drink the tea, and if you do drink the tea, know what's in the darn tea.
It's got to be it's just gonna be dirty water. No coca.
No coca in that tea. Man, what a mess that is.
God.
No, listen, I appreciate you letting me come in here, and truly good luck. I do hope you get to go. I don't even know everybody that's in the mix for Canada, quite honestly, because I've been kind of in my own little world, but you've been going great. You had a it's such a good horse, and you've had such a good run with that horse to this point. I think as much as anybody deserves something in eventing, you deserve to get to go.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
It's a little bit selfish as well, because then it brings more publicity back to Ocala, which is good for all of us.
Business for everybody. Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So anyway, Karl, thank you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank
you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will be with you in a couple weeks' time. And until then, just keep checking out the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like on all the videos, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Rick Wallace.
And I have Don Holly here with me.
3 phases, dressage, cross-country, show jump. And you're out on course and something's going wrong or going right, you know how to react to what they're doing.
It was built originally to be a schooling facility, and so everything's set up very conveniently.